When it comes to closed hands, that's when it's best to just think of them as like a 3D shape, because hands do be messy, especially when the phalanges are closed. So what I like to do is I'll grab the hand, and you can see here that realistically my hand is just a box of some kind, right? So you got one angle here. So I use the knuckles and this squishy part here to make a little rectangle. So we got the wristy poo here. Oh, do I know? Oh, yeah, I have to bring that in. We got the wristy poo here. I'm going to darken this red a little. We're going to taper the wrist in just a little bit because you do need that little bit of tapering. Gotta love, yeah, titties, man. And then we start with this. So we have our first line, and we're going to angle this way. So these are going to be your knuckles. So from your angle, we're actually going to bring that up just a little higher. And then from there, we've got the squishy part of the hand, right? So the other thing that sucks is when it's like, depending on the angle, it's weird, you know. Depending on the angle of the hand, it can look a little weird. But yeah, so we have that. So when it comes to closed hands, I usually try to use some sort of box to base it off of. And now we're gonna just bring that in. So we're gonna do an off angle to bring in the knuckles. So the knuckles are gonna be here. And then from there, it's just gonna be the first section of the hand with some perspective here. So where this finger comes in here is where the next knuckle is going to start, because it is folding in slightly. And then we have this, and then we have this. So I'm just going to turn down the opacity on this a little bit just so you can see better. So what we've done here is, yeah, you know what? It's good to pick the weird angles though, because drawing something that makes you uncomfortable is going to make you learn a lot better. All the coolest things are weird. Absolutely. And you want dynamic poses, right? So now from there, we've done our knuckles. So using this line here, we're going to be mindful. Thank you, Ice Cubes. I think. So from this angle here, bruh. You're gonna have like a downward slope, right? So this section here is your knuckles, and using that, you're gonna be mindful that your hands are gonna be tapering into this weird shape. So, you know, the middle finger is always the longest, and then you have your index finger and these other two ones where their names don't matter. So I usually like to do these last two fingers here, or these two fingers together as a shape, just because I think they're more interesting. But for how you're doing it, I would push these two fingers here and then keep these ones the same, so that simplifies the shape for you. And I find that sometimes if you over render or do too many details, it kind of looks weird. So here, you can just leave it as one shape and just kind of, you know, do something like that. Just a little divvy. So you have the fingies here, like that. And then the thumb just, boop, you know, type thing. So we got that. They call you Mr. Charmer in the real world. I bet they do. Okay, you guys ready for some ASMR? Ready? Good job. So anyways, you just watch it become a hand. Hands are weird. They don't look like hands for a long time, and then you're like, oh shit, that's a hand. The other thing to be the other thing to be mindful of when you're drawing closed hands is that, I'm covering my mouth, but this part of the hand here is typically about half the size of the face. So that's going to help you keep proportions of the hands correct, so that you don't get baby hands or too big of hands. So if you see here, from the knuckle, it's almost about half of my face, and then my fingy tips go to my forehead. So keeping that in mind, you see here that I tried to keep the hand to about half the size of the face that you already have. Your ring finger looks big. I have really long fucking, like, I've got small hands, but they're like long. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Anyways. Yeah, so we just have to be mindful of that, so that if these fingies were outstretched, that it would make the full length of their face. I do have Slenderman phalanges. A lot of people make the joke that I have raccoon hands. I have little raccoon hands, also because I eat my food with 2 hands, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so you can always use yourself as reference. So once you've done your face, you can be mindful, okay, so this is how big the head is here. So the hands should be this shape here, right? Which is pretty close to this. So we're going to be doing the same thing on the other side. I have dog hair in my mouth. So this angle here is a little trickier because you're going to have to change the foreshortening of the arm a little bit. So we're just going to grab this. So what I like to do with this is I start the foreshortening. I try to think of the forearm as like a cylinder. And then I join the other half of the cylinder here, and it tapers in. And you just connect these lines. And because we talked about this before, that this fatty bit here, when you're doing this, I'm trying to like show you, it like squishes. So when you bring the arm in, you want to be mindful of the squishy bit. And then now we can do the angle of the hands that you want to do. So we have the wrist here. And again, we're going to think of it like a rectangle. And it's going to come out this way. We'll get rid of this circular bit here. So now we're starting to get that angle that you want. So the thumbs are going to be pointing out this way, so you'd be mindful of the index, and then your middle finger, and then the other 2. And this is when you can start to use shapes to simplify things, right? So you got this finger here. And now when I would do something like this, I would group those 2 fingers together to make that shape. And then pinky finger. So now we got that, and then you can add in your thumb, and there you go. And now you've got what do I do for work? Okay, so I actually do commission work. I do like freelance art stuff. And then my big job is I'm a medical clerk. So I sit at the computer all day and I have to summarize years and years of medical stuff for people, for physicians and neurologists and stuff like that. And I summarize it so that they can do assessments, and it's painful. And then I stream. Now we have hands. We have hands! Ta-da! So yeah, and this is a little harder to do, like I said, with hands with foreshortening like this, it's tricky. So I tried to be mindful of how big the fingers are bent, because if these guys were stretched out, they would have to also meet this the half definition, right? So, ka-chow. So now if they were completely bent or brought out, you know, and if you want the hands bigger or smaller to match the face, at this point you could make the hands bigger or the face smaller to match that, to make sure that all the proportions are there. But yeah, that's how you would get that. So I imagine on this arm, this one you were having a little bit of trouble because the foreshortening of the forearm makes the hand a little difficult. You're one of the smart ones. Oh, thanks. You're welcome. You're all my little, you're all my, I will adopt you. I'm the art mom. So yeah, I'll send you this back on Discord. But that's how I approach hands. It's easy to just break them down into rectangle and then a different shape. And then from there you can attach them, and simplifying shapes on the hands will be your best friend because it'll add some more pizzazz, but you don't have to worry about all the Art mom. Dude, I'm honestly, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how young you are, I always end up being someone's mom friend. Always. I am the angry mom friend all the fucking time. I'll get mad at you if you don't eat. I will cook you a meal, absolutely, from scratch. You want handmade pasta, I'll fucking do it. Don't test me. I'll make you a coffee. I'm always the mom friend. I can't turn it off. That is beside the point. Oh, good. Yeah, I like if I can make art a little more approachable for people, you know? Even if it's like someone who doesn't paint, just to break it down to like teach people like, hey, art is not as scary as you think they are. Merphalanges.